And we are live.
Awesome.
What's up, man?
What's up? Thank you for having me, Danny.
Thank you so much for coming, dude. Thanks for coming all the way from Brooklyn.
Yes.
To all the way up north in the Bronx. We're about to do a shout out. What is this? Jim Beam?
Yeah.
Courtesy of Crystal Garcia.
1 alcohol, please.
There you go, man.
Yo.
I got you.
Thank you.
Party favors, man. I appreciate you coming up here on a weekday night.
Yep.
Try to bring the energy on a weekday.
Always, every day. There's really no difference at this point for me between a weekday and a weekend except what other people are doing.
I can't always do this shit on weekdays, man. Sometimes I reschedule with people like, dude, I'm just too tired from work. But today, I'm feeling good, man. Cheers.
Cheers. First thing that everyone's going to know is I drink on camera. Good start.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. You
Nice.
won't be the first. Oh, shit. So, my man, Nick LaMantia, Flo Pilot.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I have so much to talk about. I find you very inspiring. I find you to be a very DIY character.
Thank you.
Do it yourself. You definitely know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
we're gonna elaborate. I don't know if you've watched an episode before, but the way I kind of start out is always by talking about people's kind of prehistory. And for those of you guys who don't know, Flo Pilot is a drummer from the Bronx. He's relocated to Brooklyn. He's doing his thing out there. He's playing shows all the time. He's always releasing music, which we will get into for sure. And overall, is just kind of taking a really fancy approach to this whole music thing, which is it's cool and it's very refreshing to see. So before we dive in, man, let's talk about how you got your start, man. How'd you start playing music?
Okay.
Did you start with drums? Was that secondary? Did you start with guitar? Like, talk to me.
So yeah, I definitely started with drums. It's a funny story, and I've been like telling it more recently because people have been asking me. But so I grew up on like classic rock music.
Nice.
On the weekends, like I would be there with like my dad and my sister. My dad was huge into classic rock, so we listened to like those records.
Like what bands?
Like Kiss, Twisted Sister, Zeppelin,
shit,
Beatles,
okay.
like everything like that. You know, it's like I can't even think of them all right now. But like we would sit and like we would play like air instruments. Like I'd be playing air guitar 1 minute, then I'd be playing air drums, and like my sister would be there, and my father would be there.
That's so cool.
So like for a while, it was just like rock and roll. And in 6th grade, we had a mandatory band class, so music education is important. You know, we need that in schools. We need that to keep going. But, you know, I was, like, wanted to be some, like, little punk kid, and, like, it was, like, concert band. They wanted us to play classical music, and, like, I was definitely not into it back then. Like, now I definitely would be, but, so I chose, like, snare drum, because I'm like, all right, that's, like, kind of close to drum set, and that's, like, the closest I can get to rock and roll. I probably would have chosen, like, electric guitar if it was there, but it wasn't. So I started there, and then after that, my dad put me in drum lessons, and my sister, Francesca, shout out to Francesca, in guitar lessons.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, I want to shout your sister out, actually. This episode won't be out in time, but she's doing a show on the 15th.
15th, yeah.
Which I think is so dope that she's kind of booking her own shows right now. She's always been such a supporter of just everybody in the scene. She also plays herself, so definitely shout out to Francesca.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny that you said you started out on a snare drum, man. Brian D said the same, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, dude, where'd you get all your rhythm from? He said he used to play snare drum in school. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But sixth grade, what school were you in when you were taking band?
Dude, I was in 181.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Shit. Oh shit.
Yeah, I went to 153 before that.
Oh man.
Like literally right across the block from like where we are right now.
You know what's funny, man? Like we were kind of living parallel lives as a kid because I went to 178 and then I went to 180.
Right. Yeah.
So for all you guys that are listening and you're like, what the fuck? These are co-op elementary schools and preschool and middle schools.
Yeah.
And there's four of them all together, but there's 2 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and me and you literally
just went to the other one.
Yeah, missed each other at both marks.
Right.
Which is funny, man. But cool, dude. So did you continue taking lessons after that? I didn't know that you took any like
Yeah,
formal lessons in school.
I took lessons for a little bit, and then I wasn't taking lessons again until college. Like 2 years into college, I actually like got my shit together and declared a major and studied music like seriously. And then I was taking lessons for a few years, and I took lessons with this drummer Swiss Chris, who you probably heard of as a drummer.
So no, Swiss Chris.
Swiss Chris, you should look him up, dude. He like used to play for like Kanye and John Legend and those type of people.
Wow, yeah.
And I took,
gotta be nice.
Basically spent all the money I had. I was still living at home at the time, so I could afford it. That was like just after college.
Were you still in the Bronx at the time?
Yeah.
Cool. Fucking Swiss Chris. Gotta look that guy up.
Yeah.
So I definitely I want to take it back a second actually. Before we get into your college days, I want to talk about some of the older bands that you were in.
Okay.
I did my research.
All right. What'd you find?
Let's talk about Staple Remover.
Yeah, so I would say that's like the first ever real band that I was in, like as in we like played shows like at venues.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What kind of venues around here in the Bronx or in the city?
Yeah, mostly in the city. The first thing we ever played was this venue in Westchester. I think it was called The Haunt.
Yeah.
That's the right venue, right?
Yeah.
That venue that like closed down.
Mm-hmm. I used to do a lot of hardcore shows there.
Yeah.
A lot of bands on that level would be playing The Haunt a lot. They used to make you sell tickets and shit. I remember it was kind of like that, right?
Yeah. It was like a weird thing too because that was like my first ever like venue show, and it was like the sell tickets thing, and like we sold like 50 tickets because we were like 17 years old, and like dude, all the families, aunts, uncles, and like Paul Arroyo, who was in Another Astronaut most recently, you know, he has a huge family and they're all here, so like he probably sold like 30 tickets on his own or some shit like that. And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And then like they never show you play after that. It's like, oh yeah, your 5 friends are there, and like maybe you're like one bandmate's like girlfriend or whatever.
Isn't that funny, man?
Yeah.
How, like you first start out and everybody wants to support you, and then they're just like, okay, cool. This guy's just gonna be doing this for a number of years now.
Yeah.
Cool. Follow him from afar.
I mean, I found it was a similar thing when I started Flo Pilot. Like the first show I ever played, my draw was like over 20 people, and it took a while before I could do that again.
All right, I remember when I saw you at the Well recently. That was pretty packed, man.
Yeah.
That show was really cool.
Yeah, if you're a musician, throw a show on your birthday. That's what I learned. That's how you get everyone to come out.
Yo, no kidding, bro. We did a show on Mocha's 30th birthday.
Yeah, I was there.
That was a banger. Oh yeah, word. Thank you so much. And we did a show for Spanky's birthday as well at the Bitter End, and that was a banger as well.
Yeah.
Huh. I'm realizing this like as we talk.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do a show on my birthday this year. It's on a Tuesday.
Yeah, well, I mean, that wasn't on my birthday. That was like the weekend after. As long as you make it like your thing,
right?
You know what I mean? I was just like, no, I'm not doing a birthday party. If you want to see me on my birthday, come to this.
That was fucking hot,
that was
man.
Just the plan. But yeah, and then like you guys played that show was amazing.
Yeah. We had fun that night. I remember we went to a bar right afterwards, got some banging mac and cheese.
Yes.
Hanging out in Brooklyn. For us Bronx cats, it's so much different being down there, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely a culture shock a little bit, which is funny because it's so similar as well. I definitely want to talk about that as well because, you know, you are one of the few people I know that have, you know, like you kind of grew up in this area of the Bronx, and with you transitioning to Flo Pilot, you moved down to Brooklyn, right? And
yeah.
Well, fuck it, man. Let's get into it. Like, how much has that influenced you now? Like, how much has the newer environment and just meeting new people, being exposed to just new entourages, new bars, just new everything? How's that influencing you right now?
I mean, I felt like I had to do it. You know, I felt like I had to make the move. I was going there a lot for shows that I was going to. I was spending a lot of time in Brooklyn, and I just knew that I wanted it and I needed a change of scene. And it was also when I moved, it was like right after both of my grandparents passed away within 5 months of each other.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah,
dude. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. It was a while ago, but yeah, it was an opportunity where I was like, I don't feel like I have to be here to take care of my grandparents anymore, and I like need a change of scenery. And it was like I could have moved somewhere else in the Bronx, but I knew that I wanted to be out in Brooklyn. And now it's like I have the opportunity to be around so many people that I would have never been around otherwise, and like all like the venues and like the places. So it's kind of become like my life there. I spend so much time and I know where like the things are, and it's given me the opportunities I need for this. But I still love playing in the Bronx and coming here, and I've had the opportunity to a couple of times at some of the places, and that show on the 15th I'm getting to play a short set as well. So I'm always stoked to come back here and show what I have to offer and like what I've been working on.
So it's working for you. It's definitely working to your advantage right now.
Oh yeah,
super sick.
Definitely.
Awesome, man. So after Staple Remover, are there any bands that I'm missing before you kind of, it seems like, took matters into your own hands and became Flo Pilot, kind of created this whole moniker and like new image for yourself? Was there anything else in between that time? I know you were going to school. You said that you were going to college.
Yeah.
I remember for a little while you were renting space in our studio, in Baychester's studio, that we don't have anymore, but that was good times. And I remember you getting your chops up. I don't know if at the time you were doing Flo Pilot, were you? Or
yeah, I mean, not really out. That's to the point where I was still like writing and learning my first songs. I don't think I even started recording anything yet until I moved into that studio. But so like
just really shedding it out.
Yeah, I mean, I started like really in the Get Real space.
Oh.
Yeah, that's when I kind of started just for fun on the side.
Were you jamming with people, or were you just going in there and renting some space so you could just play some drums and go crazy?
Oh, so it's actually if you remember this band, we went by a couple different names, and by the end of it, it was Cheap Divorce. If you ever remember that band.
Throw some more names at me.
Alex Delgado is in that band. Jerry Valencia. Paul Bernardo played bass in that band, actually. And this guy, Ara, who's like not from the Bronx, but he came in. I found him through this job I had, and he was a killer singer, and we did that.
That was just like a Get Real super group kind of?
Something like that. I remember talking to Alex Delgado after like years of like knowing each other, and like we played together in a band in high school. That was like even pre-Staple Remover. Like we never played any shows or anything.
Really?
But yeah.
What about Nick Quiles? Wasn't he in one of those bands?
So Staple Remover was me, Nick Quiles, and Paul Arroyo.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just the three of us for a while. And yeah, that was in like junior and senior year of high school, because like we all went to Spelman together and we graduated together.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Did you guys play any Bronx Underground shows as Staple Remover?
Yes, we played at The Point.
Oh, nice.
Once, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you know what's funny? That place is actually really close to my job, and they cook banging food, dude. Like they cater to my job a lot, and sometimes I walk over there because there's not a lot of good food in that area, in the Hunts Point area, and it's such a trip, man. Like I miss those shows so much. Like I'll be waiting for my food, and I'll walk into that theater with it. It looks the same too. Like everything is black walls, black floor, black fucking bleachers, and I just envision all of the madness and the shows and all the people that they used to pack in there, and yeah man, it was a good time. I wish I wish we could do it again. I just don't necessarily want to be the guy
right
that has to book the shows.
Well, yeah, that's the hard part, right?
I want to play them for sure, but I don't want to book them.
Yeah.
So, Fernando, if you're listening.
Well, I mean, it's coming back around. We have like some dope stuff. Like there's a lot of the Jimmy Ryan stuff that Alex is doing.
It is. He's doing another one the 15th, actually, the same night that Francesca's playing. So
yeah.
That's going to be a crazy night for me because I'm leaving the next day for vacation. Gonna go just kind of reconnect to nature. But the night before, I'm gonna definitely check you guys out at Francesca's show.
Word.
And then probably skate over to Jimmy Ryan's.
Yeah.
And like set up and play a set.
Right.
Go to bed super late and then sleep on the bus the next morning.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm gonna definitely come out to that one afterward. That's gonna be an amazing night.
It's gonna be a great night, man. The Bronx has it going on. Like 2 shows in one night. People are just gonna be bar hopping. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, this definitely won't be out in time, but
so in case you missed it, it was amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You suck. Make it to the next one.
Yeah, you fucked up. Like, if you did make it and you're watching this, then dope. It was awesome seeing you there.
All right, man. So, Cool. So it sounds like, you were just kind of getting your chops up. You were going to school, still attending a lot of shows. I know you were going to a shit ton of shows. I always see you everywhere, man. And thank you so much, because you've come out to so many like Drew shows and conversing all the time. Like you're not only doing your own thing, but you're also a genuine supporter. And I think that is extremely difficult when you're a creative yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I wish to God I could go to more shows or hang out with my friends a little bit more. This actually, in a weird way, is kind of a way for me to kind of hang out with people and do it in a way that's hopefully meaningful and puts a spotlight on you as well. But I totally respect that you're not only playing the shows yourself, but you're still making the time to go out and see your friends play, and I'm sure other larger bands as well. So
yeah, I mean, honestly,
kudos,
I go to more of the local shows. Like, I think my friends make some of the dopest music I've ever fucking heard.
There's a lot of guys doing it, man. Yeah,
that's who I want to go see. And you know what I mean? It's more than just, oh, you're my friend, you're my homie, I want to go support. But it's like, dude, I want to see that shit live, dude. It's amazing. Yeah. Like, like what you guys do, the Drew Torres Trio, Baychester Blues, like the 300 other bands that Danny's in, they're all really good, dude. And like all the bands, Conversing with Oceans, like, Another Astronaut right now, like, it's really good music, dude. And it's like, the Bronx has like amazing music, always had, and it's like only more refined right now. So I'm always happy to trek 2 hours back home and check it out and then go sleep on my mom's couch,
Fuck yeah. But yeah, dude, shout out to Another Astronaut, and Behind the Facade as well. Another two bands that are just putting out killer material. They recorded with Dave Andronico recently, and goddamn, their record sounds fucking dope.
One day I'll be able to afford it.
Yeah, right. Fucking throw us a bone, man. We're trying to record some dope stuff. But yeah, man. So transitioning into Flo Pilot, like, how long did you have this idea? Was it like kind of a yearning for you, or was this something that you felt like you were just gonna kind of take matters into your own hands? Because as I said before, like the vibe that I get from everything you're putting out in terms like your recordings, you're doing yourself, your merchandise, you're doing yourself. Everything is like super DIY. And that also is kind of like translating to the music, because you are like a standalone like artist. Like you're it's not a band, it's just fucking you, and you're writing this music. You're programming all these MIDI tracks, and then you're playing drums to them. Sometimes you're not even playing drums, you're playing keys and stuff, which is like super cool. Like which one was it? Like, is it more like kind of you taking matters into your own hands and just kind of taking the wheel, or is it more something that like you really kind of felt the calling to do?
Well, I feel like it was like, now I see it as inevitable that I ended up here. At the same time that I was playing in Cheap Divorce, which is a Bronx-based band, or was a Bronx-based band that I was in, I was also in another band that was based out of Putnam County called the Pink Tacos. My friends Hannah and Andy. That. Yeah, they're in a dope band now called So Data, and they're amazing. And they also hooked me up with a great show in Massachusetts recently.
You guys were doing a lot of like Latin jazz and stuff too, right? Like you guys were. Or am I wrong about that?
No, not with that particular project. That project, the Pink Tacos, was more like rock and roll, R&B, psychedelic kind of stuff.
Oh, way off.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like another band though that you were doing some?
Yeah, I had
more jazz stuff?
some cats that I went to college with. We would do some jazz, play some like little gigs, make $100 here and there, and it was like a lot of fun to play with those dudes until like everyone kind of got a little bit too busy with that. But to answer your question, I wasn't really into electronic music so much from like an earlier age. I kind of had like that, that grandpa perspective of, it's not real music. Back in my day, we played instruments, But actually, like someone that like JoJo Mayer, Nerve, when I really started to get into them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Dude.
Yeah, JoJo came up when I was talking to Johnny Quest as well. He's one of those guys that he's on the Mount Rushmore of godlike drummers.
Yeah, of our generation.
If you're a drummer or even a musician for that fact, and you're not fucking with JoJo Mayer, you're screwing up, man.
Yeah.
He's just an inspiring human being all around. But I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, so yeah, and then like because of like the musicianship of not just JoJo but everyone in the band, that's how I started to get into electronic music, seeing like real humans play it live, and then because of that, I started to get into like the themes and idioms of electronic music and started to appreciate the sound. So even when I heard a DJ, I could still understand it, and I started to understand it. And also Alex Stevens, another Bronx musician, I actually ran into him the first time I ever went to go see Nerve, and then we were like chatting, and he showed me some other bands, including Drew of the Drew,
who's also been on the scene. He was at the Nerve show, or you just
yeah,
oh, that's
yeah,
so sick.
yeah. I mean, I think I put it up, and I like tagged every drummer that I could think of. I may or may not have tagged you at the time. I don't remember.
You probably did.
But yeah, and then he ended up showing up there, and we were talking about electronic music, and I started to get into it, and I was like, you know, it'd be really fun if I like would mess around with GarageBand a lot because I grew up on Mac computers, so like, of course, like some program with like a guitar on it that's gonna like catch my attention. So I like messed around with it a little bit in high school and college, and then I was like, you know, it'd be really fun if I like made some like electronic like loops, you know, put the click on and just jam to it because I just like jam anyway. Maybe that'll be like fun to do. So I started playing this one beat, like, you know, when you're playing your instrument and like just for fun and like you're just jamming, and I would play and like this one particular drum beat would come to me every single time. Like I couldn't get away from it like for like a year, and I tried to show it to other musicians and like no one could write anything to it. And I'm like, all right, you know, I'm just gonna write something to this. I'm just gonna like fuck around, have fun, whatever. So I like just sat down, put on the click, found a good tempo, just recorded it, and I started writing around that. And since then I've never written any other song like that where I wrote around, you know, me improvising on the drums.
So you were like crafting the MIDI tracks with GarageBand around that beat that you recorded?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I use Logic though. I've like upgraded since then, but back then that was all I had because it was free.
Fuck, dude, GarageBand is the shit, man.
It is. I mean, I've seen people do dope shit with just GarageBand, so.
Oh yeah. I call Macs media warfare machines, dude.
Yeah?
They're just like for a musician or any, you know, if you're doing like photography or something like that, like I don't know. I feel like PCs are more for the gamers and Macs are more for just the
art.
Art, dude. Yeah,
for
real. All right, but that's super ill. So it does sound a little bit like you were kind of taking matters into your own hands, and dude, you know, by and large, I am super inspired by Nerve and the work that they put out as well. The first time I was exposed to Nerve was when JoJo Mayer did the Modern Drummer Festival, I think in like 2001 or something. And Nerve performed, and they just like killed it. They did like 3 or 4 songs, and it was ridiculous. And now he's he plays New York a lot. You know, he lives in New York, right? Doesn't he live in like Brooklyn or some shit?
I'm not sure.
It's a shame that I haven't seen him live. But you were actually on one of his documentaries.
Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. And I was like, oh yeah, my hair was that short back then. That was like a few years ago.
I'm sitting down watching a Nerve documentary in my crib one day, and I see Nick in the crowd. I'm like, yo! I had to pause it and do the double take. And I think I texted you like, motherfucker, you gotta watch this documentary, dude.
Yeah, you actually weren't the first one. I think Vin Envy was the first person to tell me about that. And then you, and then my other friend Jamie, who's also from the Bronx, like he told me about that. And then I eventually watched it, and then I was like, oh, yeah, there I am.
Nice. Was there anybody else that was inspiring you like at that time, like on that level, JoJo?
Oh, also Shigeto, definitely. If you know Shigeto.
Never heard of him.
He does like what I do, except to the next level. Or I say I do what he does because he's been doing it a lot longer. But like he like uses Ableton, and he does like the live like mixing thing and plays drums. Nice. Also. Not exactly the same kind of music, but it's a similar feel thing like that. And like there's been a lot of influences that came in. Like I started getting into like Flying Lotus and Thundercat.
Yeah.
Also,
for sure, I could see
pretty
that.
heavy. And like Tycho, because he started like really blowing up a few years ago too.
Have you ever fucked with what's his name? He used to play with the Mars Volta.
Oh, D'Antoni Parks.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My boy turned me on to him like about a year ago. I've been sleeping on Techno Self.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, I can't listen to it for too long, but it's amazing to watch. Like I like watching him play more than like listening to the shit on Spotify or whatever. But
Yeah.
This cat plays like the piano with his right hand, and then the shit that he does with his left hand, he plays the kick, hi-hat, snare with the left hand. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely a talented dude. And what I'm seeing definitely, like Travis Barker plays with DJ AM. Like there's Questlove plays with fucking DJ Jazzy Jeff sometimes, I believe, as well.
Oh, yeah?
Like there's kind of like a whole like drummer DJ culture that's kind of going on. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's kind of caught on to be its own genre yet. I don't know if somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you're definitely kind of catching a wave right now, and there is a niche for this.
Right.
It's very interesting, and I personally would love to see more. I think it's so cool that like we have a guy like you kind of doing it on a local level, because it's just dope, man. Like when we did the Tiny Desk concert, there's about like 10 or 12 acts, everybody coming up and singing a song, playing some acoustic guitar, maybe some full bands, and then here's Nick with a fucking drum set just playing like instrumentals, bugging out. It's like super unique.
Yeah.
And, you just don't see a lot of it, man. What's the reception like when people see you live? Like, do people often kind of, I don't know, are they receptive to it, or are they kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's just a dude up here playing.
Well, I mean,
drums.
I feel like it's gotten better because I've been getting better at putting myself in like the right places in front of the right audiences, and I feel like that's a trouble that a lot of musicians have, is like finding like the right shows to play.
Right.
So like the reception has been good. Like at the very least, people think that I play drums at least pretty well, which is pretty good. And like a lot of people have been really digging the music, and it's just like I've been doing it for a couple of years now, so it's kind of just like,
I think your
more about the
songwriting has
energy.
gotten much better from the last
Thank
time I
you.
saw you. Actually, when I saw you at the Well, some of the songs that you were playing are on this new record that you just put out, right?
Yeah.
I was watching, and me and Mocha in the crowd, and we were just like, oh, all right. It's cool. Like, great feel changes. Some epics, too. Like, you go off on tangents, bro. like you play for a while, like just long songs, and it's definitely an experience. And I believe we played with a dubstep guy that night. His name was Send Help, and I think that crowd as well, like they favor this kind of thing very well. Like I think they were very receptive, and it was super cool, man. It's just cool to watch. So cool, man. Let's get into some of the releases. I was just on your Bandcamp, and you have a lot of shit, actually.
Yeah.
Remember when you put out Oh Honey, but I actually didn't realize that you had a mixtape out before that.
Yeah.
And most recently you just put out a new record. So talk to me about that progression and how you've been recording all this music and putting it out.
Okay. Well, the first things I ever put out, I wrote like 2 songs really early on, and I knew that I wanted to have music out before I started playing shows and talking to venues. I wanted to have a way to promote it. So I recorded Level 1 and Starving Beauty with Vin Envy. And then I put those out, and then I was kind of like working on this EP for a while, and that was like the point where, I mean, if we're being real, that was like a real low point in my life. I was like at rock bottom. That was even before I moved into the Mount Vernon space and Get Real closed down. So there were a few months where I couldn't even really play music, but I could just like sit home and write music. So I was pretty much just going to work and coming home and writing music. Gotcha. And I was like writing that. And then I started writing other songs. So even though like Temptation came out first, a lot of those songs are newer than the songs on Oh Honey. But I knew that I wanted to like get in the studio and do that properly. And like the rest of Temptation was like, put one mic on the drums and just go. And there's one song on there, But I Have to Try, that like one night I was just like in a place and I was just like, I just want to write. And like within 6 hours I wrote that song, went to the studio, taught myself how to play it on drums, recorded it, and then mixed it, and then I mastered it using Lander like in the morning and threw it up on SoundCloud. And that was the point.
Fuck with Lander, guys.
Yeah, fuck with Lander, dude. Seriously. Yo, if you want to like master your tracks for like nothing, and it's like,
it comes out sounding really good, dude.
I mean, like for like real releases, like for like the most recent record, I went to Mocha because I knew all right, I want a human to look at this and do something, and like
he would
Mocha's
not stop talking about the new record. I swear to you, I'm not even bullshit. Like, I'd go to his crib and he's just like, yo, dude, Nick put out some good shit. Like, oh god, every time I would see him for like a week, man.
That's awesome. I'm glad because like I really value like both of your opinions on music because like you guys are like top level Bronx musicians as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you, man.
So I always appreciate anything you guys have to say, like not even just about me, but about anyone, you know.
I think he really felt the progression though because he worked a little bit on one of your other releases,
Yeah.
right?
Oh Honey, I went to him also that EP.
Oh, so he mixed Oh Honey.
He mastered it.
Oh,
that
he mastered
that
it.
one I went to Vin also. So like Vin recorded it and mixed that one, and then I sent it to Mocha for mastering.
Okay, so Vin was like your engineer. He was recording you while
Yeah.
you were okay. Have you done any of the records like yourself actually, like completely on your own, or are you using kind of like another guy?
Most of the mixtape was just me with one mic on the drums, except for those first two songs where I went to Vin and I was kind of just like, yeah, let's just bang them out. I just want to like have like a body of work out, and I was like, all right, let's just do it. And like I know that I can like put one mic on the drums and like figure it out. Like I'm definitely not the best engineer, but I was like, I'll figure it out. That's kind of been my process the whole time. Is just like I'm not really like I'm not the master of any trade, master of none or whatever, but like I'll figure it out. I'll put something out, and like I feel like if I make good music and put my energy into it and like people like it, that's the most important thing. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of like I kind of don't care about like let it be like punk rock and like lo-fi, and that just kind of been my thing. And then sometimes I feel like it's like, oh, it's like a cop out, like I don't have to try too hard, but I'm like, no, that's like my sound, like the whole like DIY thing you're saying, like that's what I'm all about, you know what I mean? And it's definitely not just me, like it's a community of people around me that have been drawn in by like what I do. So I appreciate that, the people that
they appreciate
that vibe with it,
yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah, I mean to me, yeah. So totally DUI, and when I listen, it does, it gives off a sense of real like humanity and holisticness. Like I can tell that a lot of the songs, like you probably, or at least it makes sense to me now, like listening to you talk, that like you're learning the spot, you're learning the song on the spot, and like 6 hours later or a couple hours later for that matter, you're just like fucking recording it, and it's probably like the second or third take, and it's not even refined yet, but you're just like, I'm gonna put out this raw idea,
Yeah.
and I'll let it flourish, live or however, from there, and like, that takes courage in itself, like I wouldn't do that shit. I'm a fucking OCD perfectionist, and I really admire when I see somebody just kind of not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like it's so cool. Like me and Mocha were listening to some of the tracks on what is the Distance, and we were definitely just like, okay, cool, this is nasty. And then some parts we'd be like, yo, he could have done that again, man. Like, he just
Dude,
left that there.
I think that too, but like okay, but like the thing with that record, it was actually like a serious time crunch because
it always is, man.
The typical thing when you go to a studio, even with like Oh Honey, where it was like, okay, all the songs are here, we're recording them all at once, and like, but like I still took 2 days with Vin. It was like 2 sessions that we did that were like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 hours each.
You guys rented out a studio, or were you doing it in your space or something?
Vin was at Otter House Studios.
Oh, Otter House! Shout out to
time.
those guys, man.
Yeah, he was recording there. So yeah, we just went there, and I was able to like leave my drum set up. But for this record, it was like my friend Brian, who is also a drummer, and he like rents in the same rehearsal space that I do, and like he like brought his recording equipment through and has it there, and he's been working on another record there and recording his own drum parts for that. And he wanted to record my record, and it's a rehearsal space, so like once you leave, you can't really just leave shit there because the next person's going to have their time booked. So we had to record in one session, and then also it's not a soundproof recording studio,
so
it's a rehearsal space.
The other bands coming in.
We had to avoid that. There's a loud ass metal band. They're amazing, but like
dude.
They go till like midnight. So we like were setting up at 10. The metal band left at like midnight. We started recording from midnight to like 8 in the morning. So like, and that was important to me to get like the raw, like desperate, like no sleep sound for the record. But yeah, again, it was sometimes where I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, fuck it, it's good, put it on the record, whatever.
Bro, you're giving me flashbacks, man. Yo, such a similar experience when Baychester recorded our second album. We did an all-nighter in the first room that we were in Mount Vernon, like before we got that middle room that they used to share with us. We did an all-nighter, and yeah, it was like around midnight. this fucking, there was nobody there for like 3 hours. Like, it was like midnight, dude. We thought we had the whole studio to ourselves. We're like, great, we're gonna get no bleed in the mics from the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
This fucking band on the other side of the wall like starts playing like blast beats and shit. And like, you can't really hear it in the mic, so we're like, all right, cool, thank God. But like, I can physically hear it behind me, and like, you know, my drum throne is right up against the wall. So we're recording this song that's like super soft and like super trippy, and like behind me all I can hear is like yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fucking good times, man. Sometimes that's the best way, and it's like you said, man, like that song that you named, but I must try. You know? Like that's the mentality that you get when you're recording in those situations. It really is like do or die. And are you happy with the outcomes though? Like, do you stand behind it? Like, do you still feel like you can listen to the records?
You know what I mean? It's, you know, sometimes I get tired of them though, honestly. Like, I can get tired of them pretty quickly. I mean, some of the songs that are even on Distance are like almost 2 years old. One of them is like a song that I wrote like over 2 years ago, and I just had the Logic file and I completely forgot about it. And then I was just like going through like my files and like looking at old Logic files and like seeing like, oh, maybe I want to like write on one of these things that I like. You know how you write a song and you like write half of it and then you just forget about it.
Yeah.
But then maybe you come back later. I was like trying to see if there were any of those that I wanted to touch, and then there was one I'm like, oh, this song is like done. I just have to play drums on it. Like, and like that song's already over 2 years old. But I'm already like trying to move on to like the next things, you know, like I don't know how to explain it, but like
no, I mean, I asked because I can't listen to any of my old records, man. Like, I cringe, dude.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
It's only because I was in a different place, you know. Like, I listen to myself, I'm just like, no, bro, fucking no, doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
You know, but I love playing the songs live. Like, that's different. But yeah, you know, we grow. I've been in the studio a lot this past month, and I feel like I'm ready to really stand behind these next recordings, like stuff that I'll be like, hey mom, let me show you this song, you know, stuff that I won't necessarily want to, or like I will, you know, want to share with people. So I definitely know that struggle. Have there been any like challenges with like kind of writing some of these songs or the recording process? Like, you know, you were saying that you only had a set amount of time. You had to fucking go for it, gun it, go.
Yeah.
You live what you got, live and die by the three. But are there any challenges associated with that?
Sometimes with writing it can be a challenge figuring out what you want to do, or like, I don't know, the weird thing is like about making electronic music where it's all drawn in and it's like I can't necessarily play the instruments. I can't play the parts. I mean, except for the drum parts, obviously. But
so you're
like
learning how to play them on the spot?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, even, like, the parts, like, the synth parts where it's, like, I don't necessarily have, like, the keyboard chops to really play some of them, so sometimes it's, like, dragging just one note around for, like, half an hour until, like, you find, like, the right combinations of things.
That's time-consuming, too, yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, eventually I just get through it, and then, you know, it works. And as far as goes recording, I mean, like, going on, you know, like, 6-7 hours of playing drums and you haven't slept, like a lot of the record is like 1 or 2 takes, and then there is one song on it that I recorded towards the end, and it took me probably like 10 takes because it was like already 7 in the morning and I was like getting tired.
Wow. God.
Yeah.
Good God. Breaking night.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. Yeah, those long sessions can be grueling. You really got to pace yourself. You really got to stay positive too. I find one thing when I'm in the studio, it's you know, I was in the studio, we're conversing this past weekend, and you know, I'll do like 2 or 3 takes of a song. Maybe we'll do some punch-ins here and there, and you know, like I'll do a take, and everybody in the control room will be like, "Yo, that was fucking dope," and I'll just be like, you know, there was some stuff here and there, you know, I could do it better. And then, you know, I'll ask the engineer to loop me around again. I'll take it again, and then I'll go into the control room with everybody. I'll listen to both takes. And inevitably, all the fucking time, that first one that I was doubting myself about is the one. Yeah. You know, so, you know, I find, you know, with me, it's always just telling that voice to take a back seat. You know, that voice that's saying like, oh, that one snare hit wasn't a rim shot. Like, it sounded a little weird. Like, I'm such a like dynamic, creative Nazi that I'm really super hard on myself. And one of my challenges is just telling that voice to take a back seat and just kind of letting it flow, you know?
Yeah.
Becoming a Flo Pilot.
Yeah. This will be an autobiography someday, maybe.
Yo, how did you come up with that name, actually? Because I think I think you have the coolest thing going on. Which you call like all your followers co-pilots.
Oh, yeah.
That shit is dope.
Thank you.
How did that come about? Like, what were you just kind of brainstorming names? Like, was it easy?
It's actually a long process.
Was?
So yeah, I started writing the music. I didn't have the name yet, and then I was talking to one of my mentors named Shannon, and she was helping me define like my creative ideas and like my creative process and everything like that, my creative identity really. And she was basically like, take your mission and like bring it down to one sentence. So I was like, all right, shit, that's a lot to like try and bring it down to one sentence. So I told myself, all right, I'm just gonna like free write, and I wrote like a page and a half. And I was like, all right, cool. So like, let's summarize this in one paragraph, and then let's summarize this in one sentence. So I summarized it in a paragraph, and then when I got down to the sentence was gain control through letting go. And
Nice.
that's kind of been just like the mission statement of like, not just how I create music, but how I live since then. And around that time, I met my friend Laura, who's a huge supporter, and she and her cousin like came to this coffee shop where I worked. And like, I know Laura because she was like a customer, and we became friends, and we actually lived together for like a year. And so like they took that phrase, gain control through letting go, and they made like 2 columns, one for gain control and one for letting go. And in gain control was Pilot, and letting go was Flow. So I think I started with Pilot, and I wanted to
process,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
Wow.
like I'm telling you, it's like it's a solo project, but like none of it I really do
Super
on my
collaborative,
own.
yeah.
It's the people that I vibe with and like the energy that like I put out and other people put out, and like how like it's all energy and vibration. So I find the people with like the consonant intervals between all the energy and that, and it's just making art.
That is so dope.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind, man. Yeah, and dude, gain control through letting go, man. That's exactly what I was just kind of expressing, like my challenge, and that like me telling that voice of doubt or denial to take a back seat. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to gain control by just letting go. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, when you're at your peak, when you're playing your best, or when you're the most creative, you're almost not even thinking. You're just kind of like a medium for all these things to flow through you. So
Yeah.
that's a super interesting way to think about it, and a super interesting spin on the name, man. I'm glad I asked.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I actually had like an hour-long conversation on the phone with Mocha when he was like in the process of mastering my last record, and he was just like, "Bro, have you ever thought about yourself as like a vessel for the music?" And I'm like, "Dude, yes, you're speaking my language." I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, and I'm like, "Thank you for saying that. You're like reminding me to like keep that in mind while I'm like making shit, And it's pretty much just your like all your life experiences. That's just shaping the vessel that you are, and like, oh, do we mess up the headphones? Yeah, and then the energy is just like coming through you and like coming out through the shape of the vessel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Me and Alex talked about that a lot in our episode, and I was just kind of asking him how he stays so open, and kind of how he,
Yeah.
is able to be so inspired by a lot. And his answer was basically exactly that. He tries as much as possible to just be kind of a medium for inspiration. Like,
Yeah.
we're not really. Or maybe we are, but in a sense, or the way I like to think of it is, I'm not really coming up with these ideas. They're just kind of flowing through me.
Yeah.
My dad used to say something fucking awesome to me when I was a kid. He used to teach me to play congas when I was young, before I could even like really appreciate it. I would come up to him and I'd be like, "Yo, Dad, check it out! I just made up this new beat." And he was like, "Bitch, you didn't make up a beat. Like that's been around for thousands of years. You're just rediscovering it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not really creating anything new. You're just stumbling upon ideas that are here for all of us to discover."
Yeah.
To some super cool, and always stood with me. That kind of was a young ideal that is just very cemented in my being right now.
Yeah, I like thinking about it that way. Like, have you ever read this book called Big Magic, or heard of that book?
No, I've heard of it. I've never read it though.
Yeah,
Enlighten me.
It's by Elizabeth Gilbert, who also is most famous for writing Eat, Pray, Love.
Okay.
But this book, she kind of talks about the concept of like ideas and how she's like, the world isn't just inhabited by humans and plants and animals, it's also inhabited by ideas, and ideas are constantly searching for a human host to manifest them, something like that. And like, if you ever have an idea in your head and you're like, wow, this is a great idea, and you don't do shit about it, eventually you're just living your life and someone else has completed your idea and is like maybe really successful from it. So eventually the idea is going to be like, hey, Danny, pay attention to me, you know, and then if you don't, then it's like, all right, forget you, I'll find another host.
If you don't, you're going to find yourself scrolling through Facebook, watching somebody pop off, and you'd be like, fuck, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, and it's like you thought of that 2 years ago, but, you know,
but you never moved on it.
Yeah. So that's kind of like in the whole vein of like the medium, like vessel thing, where it's like, I always feel like the songs are coming to me, and at the end of the day, it's just like, I just have to like sit down and realize them and make them, you know.
Cool, man. So you touched on the fact that, you know, it's not a standalone process for you. Like, it's not just you. You have a lot of creative influence around you and people helping you out. Obviously, the Flo Pilot moniker came through a very like creative process. You said your mentor was helping you out, and then forgive me, Laura.
Yeah.
Your coworker at the time kind of.
No, she wasn't even my coworker. She was a customer at my job. You know what I mean? And I worked in a great place where like I became friends with a lot of customers, and they've become like, even my mentor Shannon. She was, you know, people that I used to serve coffee to every day. You know. So,
that girl Laura, is that the person that dances with you now?
Oh no. So that's Becca, who dances with me now, and she's also a huge part of the process. If you've seen the shirts, and my friend Gina, and like we just sit and we hand tie-dye them, and like we make art, and like, and we were on tour for like the weekend recently, and it's, you know what I mean, it's just people coming in that like vibe with the music that I put out, and I'm just like, cool, be a part of it, like let's do it, let's just make art together, and it's become more than I could ever want it to be, because I'm not alone in it.
Well, dude, before I jump into your live show, then,
okay,
I'm glad you touched on that, because I think your merch is so unique. So,
thank you.
Like behind me, you take some later if you want. I got some like Drew Torres stickers and stuff that thank you everybody that donated to the GoFundMe, or Indiegogo rather. Everybody made it possible, but most bands kind of take that route. We'll get a design made by somebody, then we'll send it to whatever manufacturing company and get some stuff professionally made. But you are, if you go to one of Nick's shows and you're trying to buy merch, what you're gonna do is you're gonna walk up to a table with like an open, like fucking rink-a-dink, like jankly suitcase, and this motherfucker has like Polaroid pictures, like actual pictures that he took, and he like hand writes like download codes for music, and then he's tie-dyeing all the shirts. So essentially what you're getting is something that's not manufactured, but something that is touched by you or one of your creative like co-pilots, and there's just a beautiful humanity to that, which you just don't see a lot, obviously. And then the fact that there's so many of them too, it just shows like, wow, these guys spent a lot of time doing this, and it's so cool, man. Like, can you talk about that a little bit? That's another like DIY thing that I just think is so ill.
Yeah. So when I put out the first mixtape, I like tried to make CDs, and like thankfully I was like, oh yeah, whatever, it's a mixtape, I'm not gonna go to like disc makers or whatever and pay a bunch of money. I'm just gonna like buy some CDs and like burn them, because like whatever, it's a mixtape, So I couldn't sell them for shit, dude. Like I couldn't even give them away to my friends, because they were just like, sorry, I don't have a CD player, I can't take this.
CDs for free, bro.
Dude, I know, but like even just like my closest friends that I was like, just have it, or even like people that would be working my goddamn merch table, I couldn't even give them one. They were just like, yeah, I don't have a CD player. So I was like, okay, like download codes have to be the route, and I know a lot of people like get special cards for them. And then, oh yeah, I think I was just like, yo, dude, what if I just buy like the mini Polaroids? I think I had seen someone with them, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And like, what if I just like put download codes on the back of them? Like I just print them out from Bandcamp on like sticker paper, and like.
Hold on 1 second.
What's going on?
A little intermission right here. So this is what I'm talking about. this, guys. Can you see this?
Yeah. So that's just one example. And like the idea was like, all right, like everyone's gonna get the same record, but like you can get a different Polaroid. And see, that one's one of me, so I didn't even take that one. You know what I mean? That was just like asking someone.
Super
Yeah,
dope.
yeah. That was like just asking someone at a show who's like actually a professional photographer. So like the caption on that one is just like I drew a camera and tried to like pretend like I'm photo crediting him on Instagram.
Yeah, it's handwritten, you know?
Yeah.
And on the back, it's a download code by some shit that's like clearly printed out. It's just so cool, man. Like, you know, you have something like this in your hand and you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Nick touched this.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know how long you'll be able to keep it up, but I think it's super cool, man. You just don't see people doing that. You really don't.
Yeah. Well, I think you need to find your own unique thing as an artist. And for me, the thing was just like, I'm a weird dude, and also like I've never had like a lot of money, and especially now that I'm in a solo project and not a band, there's no one to really split the cost if I wanted to do like pressing CDs or anything like that. So I'm just like,
it's a very good point.
You know, I use what I can, however I can, but like I'm gonna make the art. Like if I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it, and if I don't have the money to afford whatever I'm supposed to afford by standards of like being a real artist, that doesn't fucking matter to me at all. Like the thing is like that's in your house right now, you know what I mean? And it's because
that's
like
what I
I'm
think
making
is so
shit
cool.
and it resonates with people.
You know, you're going toe to toe. Look, like I have like a conversing, you know, thing right there.
Yeah,
it's like a little pre-order card. Not to take anything away from Alex, I think what he's doing is genius too, but
oh, absolutely.
Like, you know, that that was money spent on some quality shit. This is some quality shit as well, but it's just on a different level, and you're going toe to toe with those with those kinds of or those forms of merchandise, which I think is like, it's awesome, man, and it's admirable. Not something I thought about as well too. Like you're not, you know, since it's just you're not really splitting the cost with a band member, and it's hard enough, you know, to have like 3-4 guys in a band. You're all broke. It's hard enough to spend money on stickers, you know, but it is just you, so you're kind of fronting costs for everything, right? You know, studio time and gear. Fuck, man, you're a drummer. You have the most expensive job, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for like venues that have house drum sets. I'm just like, all right, I can just like turtle up and hop on the train, you know.
Has your playing or your setup changed at all, like because of like playing in clubs more often? Like do you play any, like your setup specifically, like do you play any less on your kit, or you know, when you go out, or do you still bring the full rig?
I used to go out with 2 snares a lot, and the last record I only used 1 snare, and like some of the songs I've adapted to only need 1 snare for certain situations. So the only real thing is I'm trying to use 1 snare as much as possible, but some songs I'm like, all right, I need 2 snares for this, I'll bring 2 snares. But like for example, the show at the Well is like right next door to Dan Bros where I rehearse, so I'm just like, I can bring whatever I want, like it's right next door, like there's no train, no cab, you know, I can take my time taking 17 trips. So for something like that where it's really convenient, then I want to go all out. But you know, and then sometimes I'd bring keyboards if I want to do that too, but that's a rare instance because you know it's
you had the whole
hard
nine
to bring
at the
so
Well,
much
bro.
gear.
You had a keyboard set up, you had the whole kit.
Yeah.
So cool, man. So touching on your live show, I want to get into just kind of the arts. You hear my cat?
Yeah.
Cameo by Bugs, ladies and gentlemen. I can't have him out right now, but I love you, boy. He's tight because he's locked up. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I'll come scratch your chin later. I love you. Give you some treats. Fucking. But yeah, so touching on your live show, it's very artistic, very.
Thank you.
Very, very live. I mean, so, you know, if you're wondering, you know, how interesting going to see just a drummer is going to be, and you go see Nick, you'll be pleasantly surprised because you have, I guess now 2. I don't know how often this is or how often it changes up, but the last couple of shows you've done, you have a woman dancing with you.
Yeah.
Right? So how did that whole shit come about?
So yeah, that's my good friend Becca. She's one of my closest friends, and we met working at this coffee shop together, and we hit it off instantly. We became friends like immediately. And then I had a show, and I told her to come, and she and this other friend of ours were both in the audience, and the two of them together, like, they turned that show into, like, a huge dance party. Like, they started dancing with each other, and then they started dancing with everyone else. And
so it just started. She was like your hype girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very much so. And then at one point I was just like, all right, like, let's collaborate together. And like, she's an actor, but she's also a trained dancer. And so yeah, we've been doing that, and like, she adds so much to the show, and like, it's definitely better when you're performing with someone else. And we did like 2 dates recently. I can tell
it's enjoyable for you, because
yeah.
It's just somebody else on stage to vibe with. Like, you know, I've never gone up on stage like by myself, dude. So I commend you for that. And I'd imagine, like, you know, dude, when I'm playing with people, like, I latch on to somebody's energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's a bassist and they're playing a nasty line, I'm just like, ooh, cool.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna chill with you right here for a second. Or when I play with Alex, I love when he rocks out. I'm just like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm controlling this dude right now. But when you're playing by yourself, you know, where are you really drawing from besides, you know, yourself, if the crowd isn't really giving it back to you? So
right.
I do notice, like, when you're playing around them, you're just like, you seem more loose. You seem more just kind of open and willing to let go too. So
yeah,
it's very interesting. It's
good to not feel like you're in it alone, like during the performance. Although, like, sometimes that's fun too. It took a while before I could, like, even just have anyone kind of help me. Like, I always said that, like, when I first started, 2015 was like the year of me dealing with my fear of being alone, and then 2016 was dealing with my fear of not being alone. You know what I mean? Because I got so comfortable doing everything myself that I became more and more, I'm like, okay, let's see who else can be a part of this, and like, let's see who I can trust.
And was that just like a musical thing, or was that just like life in general as well?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of both. Like, for me, like, the whole art thing is like I see it more than like being a drummer or a musician or a composer, but being an artist, and like, my whole life is the art piece.
It's you. It's your identity.
You know. Yeah.
Wow. Cool, man. So now you've I wasn't at the last show. Crystal was there. She told me all about it. That's actually why I have this card right here. She brought it home along with the tie-dye shirt. But I saw you had 2 dancers with you now. You had a male and a female.
Yes.
Just kind of adding to the mix, working out the duality.
Yeah.
So how did that come about, man? Where did that dude come from?
Yeah, so that was Vegas. His
name is Vegas?
His name is Vegas.
Holy shit.
Yeah, his name is Vegas Valentine. He has like one of the coolest names ever.
Vegas Valentine.
Yeah. He's awesome. He's friends with my friend Gina, who is kind of like my partner in crime, kind of like the left half of my brain, or the right half, whichever one is the logical side is Gina, and then whichever one's creative one is me, and we work on a lot of art together and throw shows in Brooklyn. And he's one of her good friends, and she's brought him out to shows, and like, he asked me, he was like, I would love to collaborate with Becca, like, I'm a dancer too. And I was like, oh wow, all right, like, let's do it. Like, I dig your energy. I'm at the point now where like, I just vibe off of people's energies, and like, really hope that I can trust people, and hope I can trust myself to know who I can trust. And like, we ended up working on it, and it was
trusting yourself.
Yeah, that's the main thing, especially as an artist, or even as anyone, you know, trusting yourself. But yeah, and then like, literally within like one rehearsal, they put together an incredible show, and like, they vibe out really well together once they met, and they have great chemistry. So
they were strangers when you brought him to the fold, or did they have like any mutual friends? They kind of met
a little bit through like like a couple of shows that I played like with Becca. They've met a few times, like, we've hung out like together in groups, but that was like the first time that they worked together. Yeah,
because I mean, you know, that dancing is an intimate art form. You know, for you to do that with somebody you just met is I'd imagine takes a level of trusting yourself. You know, like you were saying as well. And I'm sure it brings a lot to the table and a lot to the fold. And I'm sure it's enjoyable for the audience too, because you just don't see that, you know.
Yeah.
You always see the guys, the same shit, man. The 5-piece band, 2 guitarists, a bassist, a vocalist, and a drummer, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I guess my setup's kind of become unique. I didn't really think about that. I was kind of just like going with it, you know.
Maybe you're in your own little bubble, but it's fucking unique, dude. So which one of these cats were you taking on tour? Was it any of these people that you've mentioned, or?
Yeah, so I took Becca with me. I had a show recently in Lowell, Massachusetts, and then one in Baltimore. And
How recent was this?
Thursday and Saturday, like
Oh,
it just happened. Yeah.
Wow, I'm under a rock.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But yeah, it was super fun, and it's definitely good to have someone with you in, when you're in a new city and performing.
Right. So you said Mass.
And Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay. Cool.
So
very
I went
very
up
close.
and then I went down, not too far, but yeah.
Okay. How were you getting out there? You were driving yourself? Or?
Yeah, we rented a car.
Nice.
Or I rented a car and took Becca with me, and like Gina ended up coming last minute, which I was super helpful for, because she kind of like became like acting tour manager and like ran merch, and like she was already on her way up.
Your mentor, you're saying?
Gina is like, I don't know, she's.
Am I right or?
She's like my top level like homie. Like we work on a lot of stuff together. Like accountability buddy. That's the best word to describe our friendship.
Okay.
Where we're just like, you need to be doing this. Are you doing this? Like, are you doing this? And like we do a lot of shows together.
To your ambitions and call you on your bullshit, probably, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
You definitely need that, man.
Word. I mean, yeah, it helps because you want to like, you have all these ideas, and like you have to kind of like put them together in a cohesive way of like, oh, I can do this, and then I can do this, I can do this, and then like it can get really overwhelming too. I'm sure as like an artist, we have like a million ideas all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, I'm a Gemini, man.
Dope.
I have an issue with I take on more than I can chew.
Word.
And I'm a sick fuck, so I end up chewing anyway. And then I'm just burnt out, dude. But
yeah.
Cool, man. So going back to touring, actually, you toured in 2017 for a while. You were out there for like couple weeks, no? I remember when you did that, you got back and I was like, dude, how was it, man?
I was gone for like 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah, that was not with my project, though. That was...
was it?
Yeah, no. That was like a hired gig sort of situation.
So what were you doing over there? How did that work out?
I was like playing drums every night. It was a really interesting experience getting to travel the country. It was the longest I've ever been away from New York, my hometown. I grew up here, and I'd only ever been away from it for like 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks and change before on like vacations or something. So it was cool. Saw a bunch of shit I never saw before.
So when you say you were a hired gun, like what kind of gigs were you doing? And did you have gigs booked throughout those 2 months, or were you just going like from city to city and just
pick
up the pieces?
Everything was pretty much booked in advance.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I was just playing drums, like learn the songs, and and like that was like a really good experience. And I actually got to play a few Flo Pilot sets like out west, like in like Portland and like California and stuff. In Utah, so that was cool.
Oh shit, man.
Yeah, met a lot of good people, a lot of artists that I'm still like connected with. Like, there's an artist that I met in Toronto who I'm like working on shows with, like one up in Toronto and one in New York. Hopefully, if that works out. So,
gotta keep those connections, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, help me understand this, because I'm still trying to wrap my brain around, like who you were learning these drum parts for. Like, are you playing with different acts in every city, or are you touring with like one group? And
oh yeah, no, it was one group.
Okay.
Yeah. Kim Bookbinder, who I used to play with. Yeah.
Okay. And what was that like? What's the music like?
It's like electronic, synth, poppy, witchy kind of stuff.
Witchy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you're I'm sure out there, or when you were touring with that group, you were kind of meeting a lot of the similar like fan base, or I guess people who are interested in like very similar kind of music as the Flo Pilot stuff. Am I correct? Or
yeah, sometimes, definitely.
Sort of.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the people that I've met, they've like checked out my music and been into it since then, which is cool.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Any like kind of real big takeaways from that? Like any. Like what was the experience like? Did you learn anything?
Oh
was
yeah,
kind of like do you want to do it again?
I learned a lot. I learned that you know what I mean? I just want to be on the road a lot. Like, I like being in New York, and it's good to come home, and it's good to be here and do all the things and be around all the people. And I love living here. I'm not really interested in moving out of New York, at least not right now. But I like going like on the road, and I'm like, now for me, it was just the experience of like trying to take everything to the next level and like get out of New York, which is why I like tried to do those 2 shows and like trying to work on going out to Philly. I had a show that was supposed to be later this month, but it's like getting postponed, hopefully till July if everything works out. So it's just a matter of, yeah, I want to take everything to the next level. Like I wanna bring Flo Pilot everywhere, and it was kind of a matter of like, when you're an artist, like when you want to accomplish certain things, and you're just like, oh wait, like how do I do that? And then it was like, oh, like that's how I do that. I just have to put in all the work to get to that step. So it was kind of that experience.
Okay.
You know.
And do you find it's like difficult to book gigs as like a solo like drummer, electronica like artist? Like how do you sell yourself to promoters and venues? Like
I've honestly kind of stopped selling myself to promoters and venues as much. Like I've been doing like shit with friends. Like for example, my friend Gina and I, we use this company called Artery. You can check out artery.is. They're like a platform that connects hosts and performers. So like let's say even right here in your apartment, you wanted to throw a show, like maybe like an acoustic show or something, so you don't annoy your neighbors. You could use that, and you could find people, or you could bring your friends in or whatever, charge whatever you want, or do you pay what you wish, and have an awesome show. And like to me, that's like better than the venues, because you actually have a chance to like meet everyone. Like it's like almost like a party or like a small gathering at your apartment.
Because everybody's connected in some way. It's
yeah.
Not just like some random fucker at a bar,
Yeah, and it's also not like, okay, cool, the Drew Torres Trio goes on at 9, I'm here at 9. Yeah. Great, half-hour set, cool. I'm gonna be at this bar. I didn't see any of the other bands. I didn't meet them. I didn't meet their friends.
Word.
You know what I mean? I said hi to like whoever from like our scene came out, and then we're all gone. And I mean, that's not to shit on the venue thing. I do that sometimes too, but I don't know. I kind of try not to sell myself to venues so much, more of just like having connections with people, and then it's just like, oh yeah, let's put something together,
That sounds good, man. That sounds very good. And that way you're networking with a much smaller group too, and I'm sure everything just becomes more intimate. Like like you said, you're getting to interface with everybody,
right.
Instead of having it's also a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot of pressure when you're playing a lot of these these clubs downtown or wherever it is, and they're expecting you to draw a certain amount of people, and there's so many elements that go into it, like a good friend may be throwing a show on the same night, or fucking dude, Baychester played Jimmy Ryan's on the day that Star Wars Last Jedi came out, so fuck me, right? There's just so many things, dude. Like rain, snow. One time we canceled the Jimmy Ryan's gig actually because there was a nor'easter coming. It was a really bad snowstorm, and we spoke with Mike, the owner of Jimmy Ryan's, and he was just like, "Yo, I can tell you like for a fact the bar is gonna be a ghost town tonight. So instead of you guys coming through and like bringing nobody and getting paid nothing, like let's just call it." And we were just like, yeah. let's do that.
Well, I feel like that's a New York thing. You're always competing with something, even if it's the weather.
Every single night, dude.
Yeah. There's always something to do here that's probably better than going to your show.
Yeah, man. Or look at that show we were talking about on the 15th. Francesca had it booked for a while on Friday, June 15th, and I think that was probably one of the only nights that Alex could get in June for Jimmy Ryan. So he did it, and God bless him. He set the time for right after her show finishes because he's that kind of dude. But that's the kind of shit that happens, and I find myself in situations like that as well a lot, where I may be playing on a night where I want to go see one of my friends play. Recently fucking Synapsis, shout out to Sean and Isaiah and Paul and all those dudes. They were playing Arlene's. I wanted to go see them so bad, bro, because I love Arlene's Grocery. I think it's one of the best sounding rooms. If you haven't checked out The Lesson, man, we should go.
The lesson?
Yeah.
Is that the jam?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. I have not gone.
It's sort of an open jam. They call it that, but it's definitely like an in crowd. Not to say that you can't get up there, because you definitely can, but
nah, I'd probably be too scared.
You just gotta show face a little bit more. But yeah, so I was recording that night, so I didn't get to go see anybody. So it's just there's a lot of competition. It's a lot of stuff, and again, I said this before, but I admire the fact that you're able to play shows and interface with people between Brooklyn and the Bronx, and then travel in between both, to support everybody. Like, dude, I hate going to Brooklyn for shit, dude.
Yeah,
I really do. It's funny. It's like, it's not that I hate Brooklyn. I don't at all. I thoroughly enjoy my time over there. A couple weekends ago, we went to me and Crystal went over to Rough Trade.
Nice.
We were just hanging out in Brooklyn, man, buying records, going checking out shops, and took the ferry back into Manhattan. It was super cool, but I don't like doing all that shit all the time, because it's like 2 hours away.
Yeah, dude. I know. I just did it, and I gotta do it again tonight.
Yeah, dude. I'm so sorry, man, and I'm also so thankful, man. I'll try to get you out of here.
No, don't be sorry, and like take your time. Like this is what I'm here for, to be doing this. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather travel 2 hours to, like, this is right here is art. I'd rather travel 2 hours to make art than like travel 5 minutes to like do anything else.
Word.
So
I hear that, bro. Fuck it. Yeah, right before I started this, I was like, yeah, man, we'll rest when we die, bro. We'll sleep when we die. On that note, you want to take another shot, man?
All right.
We might as well try to finish this slowly. A little bit left. Yo, so I noticed actually today while I was at work. Usually when I prep for these interviews, if I have time, I like to listen to discographies as much as I can. Just do any kind of research and just brainstorm what questions I want to ask. And I noticed that you did a crowdfunder.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
I want to touch on that, man, because it was Drew did one recently, and
right.
It was challenging, bro. The results were unbelievable. I cannot thank people enough, but whoa, was it a hurdle to get over. So talk to me a little bit about that.
First, let's do this. Cheers.
Oh, man.
Thank you for that. Okay, so yes, I definitely want to talk about this. I'm really glad you asked. I was thinking about it.
Is it still going, by the way?
Nah. I mean, I guess I got lazy and didn't take the donation link out of my Instagram bio yet. But by the time this airs, it'll have definitely happened. So it doesn't really matter. But to really talk about it, like it's a really beautiful experience, as I'm sure you felt as well. And
so humbling, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. It's all right. So like, to really talk about it, it's like, I was thinking about crowdfunding for a while and like thinking about how we'd go about doing it, and people had suggested it to me, and I was thinking about, like, I kind of started to write down, like, okay, what could I possibly offer if I were to do a crowdfunder? And I'm like, am I really there yet as an artist? Am I ready? Am I like blah blah, all this nonsense about like reasons why I shouldn't do it, or like, I'm not ready, I didn't put enough time. And it's like, I could have done one for this record, and I really wish that I did like a larger campaign like what you guys in the Drew Torres trio did, because I saw you guys do that, and I'm like, damn, they're really killing it. Like they went and did it, and that's like awesome.
I gotta give a lot of credit to the Mocha, man.
Yeah,
he's a dreamer.
Everyone does.
He's a dreamer, bro.
Yeah.
He'll tell me about something, I'll just be like, dude, you're nuts.
Yeah.
And then it'll work out, and I'll just be like, oh God.
Yeah.
Sorry, I doubted you, bro. That's a lot of what that experience was, man. I don't know how it was for you when you were setting it up, but I remember for us, it was very anxiety inducing, man. Like, there was a point where Mocha was like drafting some of like the higher level perks, like we had like a list of perks that was just like cool stickers, pins, t-shirt, CD, or just a CD, flash drive, like whatever. Like, he was going super hard, dude.
Yeah.
And then it started to get into like, pay $50 and you'll get a drum lesson, which I'm doing on Saturday. Actually, I'm giving somebody a drum lesson, which is
dope.
super cool. and then he started to get into like private shows, and then he eventually got to this one perk that was like $800, dude. And I'm looking at, that's one of those moments where I'm like, dude, fuck you, man. Like, why are you doing this? This is gonna be so embarrassing. Like, I don't want to ask people for money. Like, this is, you know, it's funny because like even as I reflect on it, it's hard for me to kind of put the feelings into words, because it's not that it's humiliating, but you don't want to ask people for money.
Yeah.
Like there's no way around it, you know. And I think what we all forget is that people do truly support you and believe in you, and when it comes around, man, it's so humbling. So
when you see that in a tangible way,
dude,
we
launched the campaign, and literally within like 6 hours, because we launched it like super late at night, I went to bed in the morning and I woke up to a text like somebody bought the $800 perk, and I was like, oh, what the fuck, man?
Yeah,
like, this is insane.
Yeah, and I was worried that no one was gonna go for my $50 one, dude, and that was the highest one that I put up was $50, and I was like, damn, like it happened. Like, I saw someone, like one of my friends, donate at like the $50 level in my thing, and like the night that I put it up, I think I put it up at like 9 o'clock, and I went to bed at like midnight, and like that was the last thing I saw before bed was that notification come in, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, isn't it reassuring, man? It's just so reassuring.
It's like, get out of your own way as a fucking artist. Like, you know what I mean? It was just kind of like, you have to see that you are that valuable and that worthy as an artist.
It's funny because a lot of us don't think of ourselves in that way, you know?
Yeah.
And it's because, you know, every creative is so tortured in some way, you know? Me and Sean talked about this a lot, how just, you know, mental health disorders are so tied to, you know, everybody, actually, you know, for sure. But I feel like people who are creative in any form are also super self-conscious, you know? And you know, if you're not, I don't know, I feel like there might be something wrong with you. Like, I don't want to fuck with you if you're like super cocky and you're so full of yourself, you know. But on the same token, like, there is something to be said for like believing in yourself. And I feel like the you know, Indiegogo crowdfunder, or you know, GoFundMe, whatever it is, like those are definitely good ways to you know, to kind of to humble yourself, to connect with your audience, to give back, because you know it's an exchange as well, you know. Like, I think that's something that it was hard for me to wrap my head around as well, and it's something that you know, it's kind of hard to realize at first. But if you launch one of these things, and unless it's like a GoFundMe, I guess I don't really know how to distinguish them, but for the Indiegogo for sure, or the crowdfunder, or I guess whatever you're doing, it's sort of like an investment, you know. Like, people are investing in you for a return, and what you're going to return to them is your art, essentially, right? Like, what was that $50 perk that that person bought? Like, what were you offering?
So I was offering, I have a song called Familiar Faces, and I made an acoustic version of that, and I thought I actually lost the file, then I found it recently, and I was like, oh, I gotta do something with this. And then I was like, oh, I need to do a crowdfunder. I can put that on there. And so that was one. I'm sending people like postcards with haikus on them. I'm like sending
some creative DIY shit.
Yeah, and they're all different. Like, I sat down in like a coffee shop the other day, and I wrote like 11 or 12 haikus. Just like, I wrote them in my notebook, and I'm just like looking at the people, and I'm like feeling energetically like, okay, this haiku is for you. I don't know why, but I just feel like you need to read this one, and this one is for you. And then I'm like, the monologue on my record, like, I don't really do like lyrics because I'm not a singer, and I do instrumental music. And a lot of like artists that do crowdfunding, they're like, oh, well, I'll send you like a book of my lyrics, and I'm just like, well, I don't really have that, but I have this poem that's on the record. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll write that out. That's another perk. One, like the $20 one, was like my whole discography, including the next record that I'm gonna put out whenever I put it out.
Whoa.
And then like $50 was like all the perks plus a T-shirt.
Nice.
So yeah.
How long was it running?
Like 2 days.
Oh wow.
It was like, I mean, the thing in the video I put was like emergency crowdfunder. Like honestly, like I had like the rental car, and then like driving after the first show, we like hit a huge bump, and like the tire blew, and we had to get like a tow truck, and like
For the rental?
yeah, and like dude, and it's like with this
Such is
rental
life.
company, and like they're kind of like I had a hard time with them also, and it was also at like 1 a.m, and it was also beyond that, it was just a situation where I was talking about how I wish I did a crowdfunder from the very beginning, and I was just like trying to be stubborn, independent musician the whole time, and like everything I pretty much paid for out of pocket. As much as I've gotten help, I had never been at the point where I'd asked someone for money to help. I've asked people to spend their time and to make art with me
It's
and
so
to be a part of
difficult,
things.
man.
Yeah,
So difficult. Yeah.
but it was just like, all right, like there's no way now. I should have been doing this the whole time, but I'm just like, I need to ask for help right now, and and I was just like literally like in the tow truck with Becca, and like we were like, all right, what are we gonna do? And like we came up with like the whole list of perks, and then when I got back to New York the next day, I just like made the video and like edited it and put it up. I didn't have like Kickstarter or Indiegogo or anything like that. I kind of just made a video, put it on Facebook and Insta, and threw up like the donation link and like my Venmo and like PayPal. Whatever.
Oh, so people were just donating directly to you.
Yep.
It wasn't through like
Yeah.
like one of those external kind of organizations.
Right. I mean, that's really what I should have done, and I should have had that going for like months probably. But
Wow.
it was kind of just like, all right, here we go. Let's do it. Let's see what
something
happens.
like so on the whim like that. And when you put up the initial emergency crowdfunder video, because I think I saw it today. I saw when I think you were talking about it already finishing. Did you mention like all that stuff about how the rental broke down?
I mentioned as much as I could, but like, again, I had to make a 1 minute video to fit on
1
Instagram.
minute for
I actually
Instagram,
sped it up, like it's at 120% speed, and I had to put a disclaimer, like I'm not really this nervous. I'm just speeding up the video.
Yo,
in the
I'm
beginning.
sorry to cut you off. This
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
a little unrelated, but you just reminded me actually. So Nick said that he put a video up on Instagram. He needs to stuff more information in there, so he sped it up. Fucking Alex told me that he watches my podcast on like 2x speed.
Right.
That's so genius. I didn't even know you could do
Yeah.
So Alex watches my podcast, and we're talking all fast and shit, like fucking
Yeah.
chipmunks and shit.
That's good. That's a good way to
cool.
get all the information a lot
Yeah.
quicker. It's really smart, actually.
So if any of you guys are already this deep into the podcast,
Just speed it up right now.
yeah. Where are we at right now? Okay, cool. Awesome, man. But yeah, congratulations, and yeah, man. If you try it again sometime, definitely send it my way, man. Catch wind of it. Another thing that I think, again, I have to credit Mocha for this because I just, I worked on the video super hard. I worked super hard for like a week straight, just like editing it. I don't know if you saw the video that we put up, but it ended up kind of degrading into just kind of silliness, because we were trying to make a video to explain the perks, and we were trying to be all serious at first, and then after a while after like the 10th take, dude, we're just like in front of his camera, we just broke. We were just like, this is fucking stupid, and we just started being like super silly, and then it finally clicked, you know what I mean? Like we were being ourselves. So yeah, I would definitely recommend doing it again. And to credit Mocha, definitely don't be afraid to hit people up personally as well. Like that was something that he was doing a lot, and it was working.
Right.
Like I went as far as editing the video with him, kind of trying to work on all the art and stuff, because that's kind of where I'm more comfortable, kind of being behind the computer screen or the camera or whatever it is. And then Mocha really took it a step further, and when we launched it, like he was Facebook messaging people, texting coworkers, family members, like he went for broke, and that's really the way.
Yeah, you kind of have to go all in as an artist. Like, have you ever read The War of Art?
No, I know a lot about the War of Art, but yeah.
Yeah, so it talks about resistance, you know what I mean? And I realized that's what I was experiencing, where I was experiencing resistance to like crowdfunding, and it's not just asking for help, but that's an art in itself, and it's part of the art form, especially in today's times of being an independent musician. That's part of it,
My cat wants to get out so bad.
Yeah.
Ignore him, ladies and gentlemen. He's He's not tortured. He has food and water over there, I promise. He's just very spoiled because I come home every day from work and pet him a lot. So anyway, Bug, stop stealing the show, buddy. One other thing I have on here before we kind of wrap this up, which I thought was very interesting that I kind of want to pick your brain on, is
Okay.
I noticed recently that you started, or maybe you didn't start this recently, maybe you've been doing it for a while, please enlighten me, but you're leading yoga classes now and like guided meditation?
Okay, well, not yoga. I do eventually want to become a yoga teacher also.
Okay.
So it's a matter of kind of getting the funds together for that, and that hasn't really happened. But yeah, leading guided meditations and then also like doing Reiki sessions. If you know
Oh.
anything about that, that's kind of what I've been doing out in Bed-Stuy.
Talk about Reiki a little bit, for sure. I
Okay.
think this is super cool.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely go more about it in like a different setting, but it's this energy healing art that comes from Japan. So it's good for like, clearing your energy, bringing in like new positive energy, aligning your chakras, all that good stuff. It helps with like sicknesses, like physical and mental and emotional, as well as everything else. Like, because any kind of illness is like spiritual, and it comes from a spiritual blockage. So it's very good for that, and it's also good to just sit down and let someone work on you energetically for a half hour, an hour, whether it's Reiki or whether it's massage or acupuncture, things like that, or like any kind of meditation. It's good to just like stop, and especially when you have energy work being done on you, and there's all different types of energy work, it's good to just slow down and let that happen, and let that be the only thing you experience for a small amount of time.
Right on, man. Agreed. And how did you get to the point where you were actually like leading these guided meditations and like Reiki classes? Like,
So in Bed-Stuy, where I used to live, there's this place called the Life Wellness Center.
okay.
I ended up stumbling in there and talking to the owner, whose name is Khadija, and asking her if she needed like anyone who like does Reiki or anything. And then she kind of was talking about like meditation and stuff, and I hadn't led a guided meditation at all yet. And I was just like, yeah, all right, cool, like sure, I can do that. And I kind of started doing that just like weekly over there, and like I did one today, and I'm doing one tomorrow night, and it'll be like, just follow me on like Facebook
my
or Insta
God.
or anything, and I'll post about it. But that's been really cool too, and it's good for me, you know what I mean, to say like,
Sure.
okay, like let's put together this like guided meditation, like let's sit with people and like talk to people about stuff and be in this kind of space and be in this kind of energy for a while. So yeah, I really like doing that, and I feel like that adds to the art, and it's like another creative thing that I get to do in my day. So that's super dope.
Yeah, listening to you say that, man, it's so funny to me, but it completely ties into, or to me at least, like how you kind of approach your music as well. I'm drawing parallels on how you'll just kind of do like one or two takes, you live with it, like you just fucking go.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a parallel from that to you like walking into this like wellness center and saying what's up to all these people, kind of connecting, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, would you be interested in leading this guided meditation? And you're just like, sure.
Yeah.
I would not have the balls, man. Like I just, obviously I'm super into it. I'm super into to taking care of yourself and wellness and mindfulness and all that. But I myself, I think, would have to think long and hard about taking on that responsibility. You know what I mean? Like that karmic responsibility of
Right.
leading something that's so intimate with other people. I think that's so cool, man. And I really commend you for it, for just
Thank you.
kind of going for it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think that definitely speaks to you being comfortable in your own skin, and just not being afraid to trusting yourself, not being afraid to see what'll come.
Yeah.
So cool, man. So you've been enjoying it so far, huh?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the whole thing is just like, go with it. Like, let's see what happens. So far I haven't gotten to anything that's backfired enough. That's tragic. I've been there's been times I'm like,
I don't see how it
oops, that
could.
was a mistake. Well,
Yeah.
won't do that again. And That's
No.
fine, you know.
It's not like you're doing like LSD or ayahuasca retreats or something.
Yeah, dude,
you know?
totally.
Like,
I'd do that. Are you serious?
it's just guided meditation, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully that couldn't go too wrong. But
Yeah.
are you seeing like kind of a benefit with the people that you're sitting down with? Are you like kind of making any connections with these people? Or
Yeah, definitely. It's good to talk to people like both before and after and like see why they're there and kind of gauge things. It's still in the very beginning stages of me doing that, so it's
Still
hard
kinda
to
getting comfortable
yeah, it's hard to, yeah. I'm still finding like my place in that identity, you know. Whereas like if we talk about like Flo Pilot, that's been a few years, and I'm still finding my place in that. But I mean, it's right. I don't really have enough information yet to say like anything specific or like to say that I see any particular trends just yet.
okay.
But it's a good experience, and I feel like if I'm doing things that are adding value to the lives of others, then I have to be doing the right thing, you know.
Totally, man. Totally. So
Yeah.
cool, man. I love it. I think it's super inspiring, and I hope you all are inspired as well. If you're gonna take anything away from Nick, just that fucking goddamn Nike slogan, dude. Just do it.
Yeah, seriously.
I think that is this man right here. He just goes for it, you know.
Mhm.
So tell me about what's next, man. Anything on the radar? Anything super cool coming up as far as shows, music? As I said, this probably won't be out for another 2-3 weeks, but
Okay.
throw it out there anyway.
Shows.
Far future plans.
Yeah, there's the one on the 15th in the Bronx, as we've mentioned. Unfortunately, this can't really serve as promo for it, but like I hope you were there. If you weren't there, you missed a great show. There's one coming up on the 14th at Niagara in the East Village again. If you were there, dope. I probably haven't even told you about it yet because I just found out about it yesterday.
Dude, start telling people.
Yeah, that's true. What's it called? The 24th, I will be at Figment Festival on Governor's Island.
June 24th.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you playing or are you
Yeah.
attending?
I'll be playing.
What is Figment
So
Festival?
Figment Festival, it's that festival on Governor's Island. It's like the big like creative arts festival. Have you ever been?
I've never heard of it. I mean, I know that like, you know, so it's June, fucking
Yeah.
festival season.
Yes.
All of that is happening right now. I know they do a lot of stuff at Governor's Island. I know Punk Island is coming up,
Right,
but I've
yeah.
never heard of this one that
So
you're mentioning
Figment
right now.
is like it's like really like not for profit. Nothing is for sale. So it's a lot of like family oriented stuff where they come and like there's a lot of stuff that's very interactive for kids. It's all about interactive art. So it's basically
So it's like a child friendly thing.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
And like I'm just gonna like play some music and combine that with like dance and painting and whatever art I can get to come through to that, and some other musicians and producers. And again, shout out to Gina for making that one happen. Like she's a big part of
Nice.
the volunteer team that works there.
She sounds like a great influence, man.
Yeah, I
Sounds
mean,
cool.
you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So I'm very particular about the energy that I allow myself to be around. You know.
Wow. Surprised I've never heard that in life before. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You learn something new every day.
Yeah, I forget where I even heard that. Someone in the comments on this write that, so I don't have to look it up. I can just find out in 3 weeks by accident.
The five people average. One of my favorite things is the 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
I love that because I've experienced it so many times in way less than 6 degrees.
Yeah.
You know, just like connecting to somebody between like a single person. You know,
Yeah.
Just like holy shit. I'm fucking.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Oh yeah, dude. It happens like so often. But
Mm-hmm.
that's super dope. Yo, have you put any thought into how your set list will go over with like in a more family oriented setting for Figment? Like have you thought about
Yeah.
like changing any songs or anything like that? Or
Yeah, I haven't quite gotten there yet.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna put together some set lists for the shows I have coming up first. set lists, sometimes I plan them out really far in advance, and sometimes I kind of think about it like a day or two before.
Right.
But that one, maybe I'll put a bit more time into play things that are a little less angry. You know? But yeah, I definitely have songs that are like on the chill, softer side, like dancier thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm never really worried like I don't mean to say this in like a bad way, but I'm not always too worried about like what the audience is gonna think. I'm worried about that they experience who I am as an artist, at least in that day, and that'll change. Sometimes I feel like playing an old song. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to play any of those songs, you know.
Right on. So cool. And anything else going on besides Figment? That's the 24th?
Yeah, it's June 20th. Well, it's that whole weekend, but that's the day that I'm gonna be playing.
Huh.
What else is after that?
Let me check my calendar here real quick. Maybe I can have this out before then.
I don't know. It is what it is, but hopefully.
So are you're playing on the 24th?
Yes.
Check it out. This episode should come out on the 23rd.
All right. So everyone tomorrow go to Governor's Island.
Or the 22nd rather.
Everyone in 2 days from now go to Governor's Island.
Go to Governor's Island. Check this guy out.
Yeah, I mean, like, really, if you can spend the whole weekend there. I mean, if you're home watching this, then good. Like, support Danny.
And
but
you said it's a nonprofit thing. Is it free or is there a fee to enter?
Yeah. You just just take the ferry out there, and they're really about just having people do interactive art. Like, for example, I'm not allowed to sell merch. That's like against like their policies, which is like kind of cool because they don't want anything like super commercial there. They just want people to have fun and interact with art. So
are you planning on going and like kind of giving anything out, or are you just kind of gonna do it?
I mean, hopefully if it's still chill, I'll give out like some stickers and stuff, you know.
Nice.
I have been doing like community paintings at shows also, so I'll probably buy a couple of canvases and let people paint together.
That was going down at the Well. That was super sick too. Wow, I forgot about that. Again, adding to the artsy vibe. If you go see Flo Pilot live at like a club or something, you might see dancers, you might see some painters or whatever. I guess you're just gonna see whatever you're feeling that night, right? It doesn't seem like there's a formula
to do as much as possible
for whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Super sick, man. We got to collab on some shit sometime, dude. I'm gonna say this online so it actually happens.
Yeah. Okay. So like when you're like watching this like a year from now, and then like just comment if we haven't done it yet.
Yeah, word. I'll see it. I'll be like, oh.
Just like call us on our bullshit.
Yep. Cool, man. So where can everybody find you? I have some links down here. You're gonna have a .com out by the time this comes out. I'm looking forward to that. You seem to be on every social media outlet. You're pretty active on Instagram.
Yeah.
Again, that's how I found out about all the crowdfunder and just all the guided meditations, all that stuff. Just found out by scrolling through Instagram. And is there any particular music streaming service that where you kind of would prefer people go to?
Bandcamp, because you can like buy shit there.
Cool.
I don't know, but I mean, I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, all of those things. I do like the standard DistroKid thing. So whatever you stream on, like Amazon Music, Google, whatever.
I'll make like a penny.
It's up there. The important thing is like, share it with people is like the main thing, and like that's the reason I'm like, because sure I want to be like everyone go to Bandcamp and like pay everything that you're supposed to for the record to listen to it, but just share it with people. If you're really digging it, like turn someone else onto it, you know what I mean? And that's the same thing I do for other people when I'm hanging out with my friends. You want to like sit down, listen to music, chill, like you don't have to put on like Beyonce every time. You put on your friend's band,
Awesome, dude. I love it. Cool. So check this guy out on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
check out his new .com.
Yeah. SoundCloud too. I know a lot of people are like really big into that.
SoundCloud is huge, man.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And finally, to wrap up, is there any last words, anything you want to say to anybody who may be listening, anybody who may have made it this far? Thank you very much if you did.
Yeah.
Any advice, anything you just want to throw out there into the universe?
Ooh, putting me on the spot.
Yeah, this is the hard one right here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is, like, approach what you're doing and approach how you live your life observationally. We all, especially as artists, we get caught up in our emotions, and especially like when we're making things, we're just like, oh, I want to make it as an artist. I want like to have all the fans, and I want to play like the big shows and everything. But just kind of approach what you're doing like observationally, and that's kind of what I've done the past few years to really like improve the things that I wanted to improve about myself and like my situations. Is just saying like, okay, like how can I make this better? Like what can I look at? What can I be aware of? How can I do like just a little bit better the next time? And then view that observationally and then do it a little bit better the next time. Like very recently, for me, and like we kind of talked about this with the crowdfunder and everything, like I started realizing like I feel like I have really good ideas, and I mean I certainly stand behind my music and other people are into it, but I could be going harder. You know what I mean? I could be going a lot harder. I could be like spending more time and applying myself and thinking about things. Like for example, with the crowdfunder, I could have done one like way out, and I could have, you know, had more resources, not just for me to have more money, but to make better art for the people that want it and want to be a part of it, and for the people that make it with me, being able to do more for them, and you just, you know, putting more into it, making it a bigger thing and making it more worth everyone's time that cares so much about it. And I'm grateful for it, and I want everyone who's just even like any part of it at all just to have even more from me. So like I mean and that's just like a personal thing, and like especially after releasing this last record and spending a lot of time and energy on it, and then like taking a step back and looking at it, you know, that's like a huge chunk of time and energy. But like approaching that observationally really helps. So there's going to be like a lot more. I'm definitely already starting to like go harder and see how I can, and like spending more time. Like I'm obviously like this go with the flow whatever type of person, but I'm like, okay, I need to like really sit down and observe the huge scope of things. Yeah. So that's I guess my advice. You know what I mean? And like observe your feelings. Like it's okay to feel anything. It's okay to feel sad, and it's okay to feel angry. Like you're going to feel that. We're all going to feel that. But like when you start to understand why or where it's coming from, or if it's ongoing, or if there's anything you can do about it, or if there's anything you can stop doing, then start to think about that and get a journal and write in it and talk about those feelings, you know.
For sure, man. I agree wholeheartedly. But
yeah.
One of my favorite books actually it's definitely a children's book, but it's called The Giver. I'm sure a lot of people have read it, but kind of the whole premise is that, you know, the whole message you get at the end of the book is that you wouldn't know what happiness or joy felt like if you didn't know pain and suffering and sadness. So,
right.
And that speaks to that kind of observational mindset that you were speaking to, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Totally good, man. Thank you so much for blessing me. That's good stuff. Let's finish this Jim Beam, man. We're almost there.
Yep. Also on the are we good?
We're good.
Okay. Also on the
Hello. Hey, there we go.
You're good. All right. Also on the the vein of crowdfunding, I forgot that I wanted to talk about this. Have you ever read this book called The Art of Asking? It's by Amanda Palmer, if you know who that is.
No, I gotta watch this back actually, and you mentioned a couple books. The Art of War I know a lot about, but
yeah,
you mentioned another one.
The War of Art on this one. The Art of War, I'm sure, is a really good book too, but I haven't read that one. I should read that also. So yeah, I mean, one big thing about it is like not being afraid to ask and learning how to ask, and that it is an exchange. Like when you're crowdfunding, you're not just like, oh, please send me money, I'm so broke. You're like, hey, like, I'm going to make some personal art for you. And like, really, that's all we're trying to do in the first place. You know?
The exchange, like I said, that was one of the hardest things for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just asking for money. It's actually asking somebody to support you so you can continue doing what you love and hopefully what they really appreciate and enjoy about what you do. So
yeah.
And you know, if you're thinking about doing it and you're doubting it for whatever reason, dive in.
Do it. Yeah, it's a beautiful experience, like the way that you get to connect with people. And I'm like sitting there like writing personalized like poems and making personal art and like personal like handwritten letters for people in coffee shops now. I was just doing that earlier before I came here.
Which is so dope.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing drum lessons, man?
Yeah, I mean, I do teach. If anyone wants drum lessons, you should probably take them from Danny and not me. But if you live in Brooklyn and don't want to travel, then, you know, all the social media is like down there.
Yeah, word.
All right, one of those.
So we'll split it. If you want drum lessons in the Bronx, hit me up.
Yeah.
If I don't have time, or if you're closer in Brooklyn, definitely hit me up. And you've gone to school for music as well, which I have not. So.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just one way to learn, and there's a million ways to learn.
Absolutely.
You know, for me, that was the one that worked.
Cheers, man. Cheers. It's been great.
It's been great.
Woo! Guys, thank you so much for watching, as always. I got to do it. I got to do the thing and ask you to like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw. Please check out Nick. Check out all his wonderful music online. Follow him on social media because he's very active. Check out that festival on Governor's Island. What's it called again?
Figment Festival.
Figment. Yeah, definitely. I'll see if Crystal wants to take a ride down there as well, and I'll get out, man.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. There's a lot of cool things to see and a lot of great ideas being manifested there this year.
Awesome, man. Yo, I appreciate you coming out. Let's get you back to Brooklyn, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
My man. Wishing you all the best, bro.
Thank you.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.